Think about it. You meet someone new, they smile, introduce themselves, and 2 seconds later, poof, their name is gone from your brain. Embarrassing, right? We've all been there. But why does this happen so often? Is it our brain's fault, or is there something else going on? In this videocast, we're going to find out the real science behind why we forget people's names, and, more importantly, how you can actually remember them next time. You don't have to look at anything. Just listen to this podcast while you're doing whatever it is you're doing. If you're ready, let's go.
Okay, I am going to ask you to picture a scenario. You're walking into maybe a networking event, could be a conference, or heck, even just meeting a new colleague at work. You're feeling sharp, ready to absorb information, really connect. And you nail that first introduction.
Yeah.
The person smiles, hand out, says, "Hi, I'm Emma." You chat for what, maybe 3 minutes? Pleasantries, maybe a bit about work?
Sure, standard stuff.
2 minutes after they walk away, you could probably describe the exact color of her blazer, maybe the pattern on her tie. Do you remember she seemed really friendly, genuine?
Right, the details stick.
But her name, poof, completely vanished. You're thinking, it's Emma, right? Or
Right.
wait, was it Emily? Allison.
Absolutely. It's probably the most frustrating universal experience in, like, the social world, isn't it?
It really is.
I feel like, your memory just totally failed you. But what we find when we actually look at the cognitive science behind it, it's not really a personal failing.
Yeah.
Not at all. It's a pretty predictable outcome based on how our brains are just fundamentally wired, how they prioritize information.
Cool. I find that incredibly reassuring, actually, because our goal here, and probably your goal listening, is to be quick, thorough, knowledgeable. You want to feel informed, and forgetting a name instantly makes you feel, well, the opposite of that, like you weren't paying attention.
Exactly.
So today we're doing a deep dive. We've got the stack of sources you brought in, and we're pointing out 2 key things. First, the solid cognitive reasons why our brains seem to just dump names.
Why they don't stick.
And second, maybe more importantly, 6 immediate, evidence-based tricks you can use right away to get better at recall. We're essentially trying to hack the memory system a bit.
Yeah, and if we boil the whole problem down right from the start, it's basically this. Our brains, fantastic at remembering stories, experiences, connections, things vital for survival. Historically, names. None of those things. They're just abstract labels, kind of meaningless on their own.
Meaningless labels.
Exactly. So the system often just discards them because, well, they don't carry inherent value initially.
Let's unpack that meaningless label idea then, because that feels like the real root of the problem.
It is.
Like, if I say the word garden to you...
Instantly, yeah. Images, smells, maybe memories pop up.
Right. Pictures, memories of digging in one, the smell of soil, maybe flowers, decades of data points flash up. But when a total stranger says, "Hi, I'm Emma," that name, it has zero connection to anything already in your brain's filing cabinet.
Precisely. You mentioned garden. Your brain does what's called elaborative encoding. It links garden effortlessly to all those existing pathways, those memories. But a stranger's name, like Emma, you'd literally have to build those connections from scratch. Right there on the spot. There's no built-in visual hook, no emotional tag, no description attached to just the sound Emma when you first hear it.
Okay, that makes sense. The sources have this great, well, maybe slightly weird example of how critical it is to force that connection.
Yeah, I remember that one.
If you meet someone named Lou, just Lou, your brain might just hear that as noise, almost, abstract sound.
Right, nothing to grab onto.
But if you immediately, consciously force a visual link, say Lou, like Leo the lion, who loves blue pencils.
Okay, very specific and kind of bizarre.
Exactly. Suddenly you've built this weird, unique, memorable picture. You've turned that abstract noise into a little mental scene. It sticks better.
What's really interesting, too, is it's not just about the lack of meaning. There's also a frequency issue.
Frequency?
Yeah, names are what linguists and psychologists call low-frequency words.
Yeah.
Think about how often you hear common words like water or house or do.
All the time, constantly.
Exactly. High frequency. Your brain has really strong, well-worn neural pathways for those. They're easy to access.
Okay.
But a specific name, even a common one like Emma, let alone something like Bartholomew, You might only hear that specific name once every few weeks or months even.
Right, unless you know several Emmas.
True. But for a new Emma, the pathway for that specific instance is weak. Low-frequency words just have weaker traces. They get overridden easily.
And then there's the factor that probably messes me up the most. Just plain old distraction.
Ah, yes. The real-world killer, as you called it.
When Emma's saying her name, let's be honest, you're almost never focusing 100% just on that sound.
Nope. Your mind is racing.
Yeah, you're thinking, okay, what should I say next? Or does my hair look okay? Or shoot, did I leave my coffee back there? All that internal chatter.
And that internal monologue, it's just disastrous for encoding that name.
Oh.
Utterly disastrous.
Right.
If your full attention isn't really locked onto the name, the sound of it, maybe how they say it, the look on their face as they say it in those first crucial couple of seconds,
Yeah.
the name just doesn't get properly filed away. It never makes it into reliable long-term storage.
So you can't pull it out later because it was never really put in?
Exactly. You can't retrieve what wasn't recorded in the first place. And distraction, especially in those slightly higher pressure social settings, it's enemy number one for that initial memory formation.
Okay, so distraction explains why the name might not even get in. But why is the face always so clear? That's the paradox, right? Face, crystal clear. Name, gone with the wind.
Yeah, that's pure evolutionary biology, basically.
Yeah.
Our brains are incredibly good, like super optimized for facial recognition.
Makes sense? Survival.
Totally. For thousands and thousands of years, recognizing instantly, is this person friend, foe, part of my tribe, a potential mate? That was absolutely critical for survival.
So faces get VIP processing.
You got it.
Right.
Visual data linked to identity gets priority treatment in the brain. Massive processing power allocated to it.
So it's like the brain dedicates this huge high-res file cabinet to the face. That's the essential data. And the name, it's like this tiny, flimsy little Post-it note stuck somewhere on the outside of that really detailed visual file.
That's a great analogy, actually. It perfectly captures why we have this separate, highly specialized system for recognizing people visually.
Yeah.
But we really struggle with the arbitrary abstract label, the name that we just kind of tack on to them later.
Okay.
And sometimes, even if the name was stored okay initially, retrieval can still fail.
Oh.
That's your classic tip of the tongue situation.
Yeah, worst feeling.
Right. Your brain is trying to run a sequence. Step 1, recognize the face. Check. Step 2, retrieve the context. Oh, yeah, I met her at the conference. She works in marketing. Check. Step 3, pull up the name, that abstract label, and that final step.
Yeah.
That's where it often gets stuck, especially if you're feeling a bit stressed or put on the spot.
And beyond just how our brains are built, the sources also reminded us about, well, external factors, things that just drain our mental batteries.
Definitely. Can't forget those. Age, for instance. It's natural that retrieval speed can slow down a bit as we get older. It happens.
Yeah.
And stress, fatigue, those are huge cognitive taxes. They just reduce the amount of mental bandwidth you have available for tricky tasks, like recalling a low-frequency label on demand.
Makes total sense. If you're exhausted, remembering names is probably the first thing to go.
Often, yeah. But maybe the most interesting external factor, I think, is motivation.
Motivation? How so?
Well, if you go into an introduction thinking, maybe subconsciously, I don't really need to know this person's name, or I'm probably never going to see them again.
Okay.
Your brain, which is always trying to be efficient, always managing resources, it just doesn't bother investing the energy needed to build a really strong, lasting memory file for that name.
Huh. So if I don't think it's important, my brain goes, cool, noted, not wasting energy on this.
Pretty much. If you don't signal that it's important, why should your brain work hard to store it?
Wait, I have to jump in here, though, because this is where, the skeptical listener, maybe me, pushes back a little.
Okay, go for it.
If I'm already stressed, already overloaded, dealing with all that internal chatter and distraction we talked about, how am I supposed to add even more stuff to think about? Like actively trying to visualize Leo the lion with blue pencils while someone's talking to me, doesn't that just guarantee I mess up everything?
That is a really, really crucial question, and a fair one. The key is that these strategies aren't designed to just add more random mental load.
Oh, yeah.
It's about redirecting the cognitive energy you're already using. Instead of passively listening while your brain churns with anxiety about looking composed or what to say next.
Right, that energy is being spent anyway.
Exactly. You redirect that energy into a very brief, very focused, active processing task related to the name itself. It's shifting your focus from internal worry to a quick external job.
Okay, I like that framing. Redirecting energy, not adding load.
Yeah,
That makes it feel more achievable.
it is.
All right, the diagnosis seems clear then. Names are basically victims of being abstract, low-frequency labels that get ambushed by distraction and a lack of built-in meaning.
That sums it up pretty well.
So let's move past the why it fails and get straight to the how to fix it, the prescription. Those 6 ways you mentioned to hack the system, to force meaning and connection.
Let's do it. Strategy number 1 directly attacks that weak initial encoding we talked about. It's immediate repetition.
Simple.
So simple, but so vital. The idea is you need to hear the name twice, minimum. Not just once from them, but once from them and once from your own mouth.
Right, like that script example. Nice to meet you, Emma. You say it back.
Exactly. You're literally forcing your brain to process that low-frequency word a second time, right away. Plus, you're confirming you heard it right.
And it gives your brain another split second to actually listen this time, maybe with slightly more focus. It strengthens that initial memory trace significantly.
Precisely. Now, strategy 2 builds on that. It forces deeper processing of the name structure. Instead of just letting the sound Emma wash over you, you turn it into a tiny mental task. Ask a question about how it's structured. Like, is that Emma with one M or two? Or, is your name spelled with an E-M-M-A? Even asking about the sound. Is it like a short E sound at the beginning?
Oh, clever. So by asking that, you've instantly shifted from passive hearing to active analysis.
Yes. Your brain has to switch gears, engage its analytical function to process the spelling or the sound components. That active analysis is miles better than just passive listening for memory.
Okay, makes sense. What's strategy 3?
Strategy 3 directly tackles the meaningless label problem head-on. This is where those sometimes slightly bizarre images come in.
The lion with the blue pencils.
Right. If your brain isn't naturally providing a connection for Emma, you've got to consciously create one. The trick is linking the name to a really striking visual feature or image associated with the person.
So if Emma has incredibly bright red hair.
Instantly, you think.
Emma.
Fiery red hair. Or maybe she has a really distinctive big smile. Emma, great smile.
And the sources seem to suggest the more vivid or even a little bit funny or unusual the image, the better it works.
Absolutely. You're not making fun of the red hair or the smile. You're creating a strong mental anchor, a memory hook. If the connection makes you, like, internally smirk a little bit, that tiny bit of emotion actually helps lock the memory in place more securely.
Okay, hook created. What about making sure it doesn't fade 5 minutes later?
Right, reinforcement. Strategy 4 is about silent, delayed repetition. As soon as you have a moment, maybe you step away, or even while they're talking about something else for a second, silently repeat the name 3 or 4 times to yourself. Just Emma, Emma, Emma. You're rapidly increasing the frequency of that word in your short-term experience, strengthening the trace.
Got it. Quick bursts of repetition.
And while you're doing that, or right after, use strategy 5. Link the name to someone or something you already know well. The sources called this the mental paperclip idea.
Mental paperclip.
Yeah, like you're clipping this new fragile piece of info, Emma's name, onto a sturdy existing file in your brain. Maybe Emma reminds you slightly of your cousin Emily. Link them.
Ah, okay.
Or perhaps the name Emma makes you think of a character from a favorite book or movie. You attach this new, weak data point to a robust, well-established memory file.
So it's associative learning. You're not making a brand new file from scratch in the brain's messy cabinet.
Exactly.
You're slipping the new name inside a file folder that's already there, well-organized, easy to find again. The more stuff already in that folder, the easier it is to locate the new addition later.
Perfectly put. Associative learning at its best.
Okay, 5 strategies down. Repetition, structure, linking, repeating again, associating. What's the last one?
The last one, strategy 6, brings us right back to the foundation. It's full attention.
Ah, the enemy of distraction.
Precisely, because honestly, none of the other hacks, the mental pictures, the spelling questions, the repetitions, none of them will work effectively if you're fundamentally distracted during that initial introduction.
If you're busy looking over their shoulder for the appetizer tray?
Right, or worrying about your next meeting. You have to make a conscious commitment to focus, really focus, during that crucial 30-second window of the introduction.
Be present.
Yeah, stay present, make eye contact if that's comfortable, actively listen, and consciously try to push aside those internal worries just for that brief moment. Focus is like the master key. It unlocks the door so that the memory can actually be encoded properly in the first place before you start using tricks to strengthen it.
Wow, okay. This has been incredibly helpful. I think the biggest takeaway for me, honestly, is just the reassurance. That feeling that, okay, my memory isn't broken or failing.
Exactly.
It's just being asked to do something it considers, well, kind of low priority.
Yeah.
Handling abstract, arbitrary data like names.
That's precisely it. Forgetting names is the normal outcome because the brain is built to prioritize faces, the context of the meeting, shared experiences, things with more immediate perceived value than just a label.
Right.
So the whole process of actually remembering a name reliably requires conscious effort, active intervention. You have to deliberately convert that abstract sound into something meaningful, something connected, something your brain is willing to hold on to.
So the secret really is realizing that every new name needs its own little memory strategy. It's not automatic. We need to practice that repetition, actively create meaning where there isn't any naturally, and basically, hack the system by giving the brain the connections and the frequency it usually skips over for names.
You've got it. Practice, repetition, creating meaning, and maybe, if we want to take this one final step further, building on what the sources said about memory prioritizing stories and experiences.
Okay, a final thought.
Yeah, provocative thought maybe. If the brain loves stories and experiences more than labels, then maybe the most powerful way to really lock in a name isn't just repeating Emma or picturing her red hair.
One.
It's to immediately associate her name, Emma, with a shared, memorable mini-narrative from that very first meeting.
A mini narrative? Like what?
Even something tiny. Don't just recall Emma with the red hair. Recall Emma, the one I shared a laugh with about accidentally spilling coffee right before we met. Or Emma, who told me that funny story about her commute.
Ah, so you link the name directly to a shared moment and experience.
Exactly. You turn the introduction itself, however brief, into a tiny story starring that person. Because stories and experiences, that's the kind of data the brain is naturally designed to remember. So the question for you, the listener, is how can you consciously try to turn every brief introduction into a mini-narrative that anchors the name firmly in a memorable context? That might be the ultimate memory hack.
Now you know. It's not because your brain is broken or you're bad with names. Most of the time, forgetting names is about attention, stress, or how the brain stores short-term memory. So next time, focus, repeat the name, and maybe even make a fun little association in your head. You'll be surprised how much better it sticks. I'm really glad you were here with me in this videocast. And hey, if you learned something new today, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next one.